Well, I was trying to live stream, but unfortunately, it looks like I have to wait 24 hours before I'm allowed to do that on YouTube. Apparently, I needed to activate it and didn't know about this ahead of time. So, I am going to just record this as I was planning to anyway, so that I can at least post this, and I apologize for there not being a live stream. I wanted to, but sometimes tech is a little beyond me at points. So let's get into what I was planning on going through today anyway. So this week I got delivered my adaptive Ghillie mesh, which was developed by Kicking Mustang and Silly Ghillie. I use a lot of Kicking Mustang's products. As you can see, actually right here, I have my webbing already set up so I can really get into this. I'm actually recording on 2 different cameras, one that's going to be looking over my shoulder so that you can actually have a better view of what I'm doing, as well as my webcam, which I am working on right now. So let's first unpack this and really get into what you get with this kit. So I didn't actually buy the full summer crafting kit that he put out. Reason being, I have 2 of the winter crafting kits and they come with basically the same stuff. So if the summer kit, you're going to get coconut rope, you're going to get thousands of these brown cable ties, dyed cottons, which I have right over here. And basically these are going to help you simulate the dead leaves. So just so you can see the colors that come. You have this lighter, paler cotton. Again, similar in color. And then you get these darker browns, and it's a little washed out and hard to see on my webcam, unfortunately. Hopefully my GoPro picks up the colors better so that I can actually cut them in and show you the colors based on the GoPro as opposed to the webcam, which seems a little washed out from what I'm seeing on my screen. And then you get these nice, really dark leaves. You can actually almost see the color differences when you put them together. You can actually see how much darker the dark leaves are versus the light leaves. And I also got some of these nice, like really dark brown leaves, which are great for creating hidden shadows. You can actually almost see it if I turn, how I've used it to create some shadows along this. And I'll get into what I did on this because this is my webbing. It's not my actual Ghillie top. This goes over my Ghillie suit. So I put most of my effort into crafting this as opposed to crafting the top of my Ghillie suit, because my webbing, it's where I store all of my magazines. It also has a camelback on it, which is what you're seeing here. And I'll go into detail what I did so that you can see how I set this up. Just put this stuff away quick. Now, what I also have and that I use these leaf strips. So they come in, I've cut these up a little bit, but they come in nice long, roughly 3 foot, 1 meter long strips, which you cut down to size as you need. I use them on this. You can see it right there. Kind of intertwining in with the cottons and the raffia. That comes with a lot of raffia. Here, the other thing, now I don't know if this comes in the summer kit. It came in the winter kit. I know Kicking Mustang's been having issues getting his shipments in because his tailor is in Russia, and as we all know right now, a lot of countries in the world are not taking imports from Russia at the moment. So hopefully that ends soon and we can start getting some more of this stuff. But this is his mesh. So it's the base mesh for his suit. I've also used the base mesh up in here. You can see this. It actually covers the entirety of my camelback. It's loose enough where I can fill the camelback and not have to worry about it. I also attach the mesh to the top here, which is where the opening is, so I can fill the camelback. And I have that now, and I keep it on there year round, but I have it so now in the summertime where it's starting to get warmer, you're looking at high humid days where I am. I'm in the northeast of America. We get a lot of hot days. We get a lot of very sunny, humid days. So you really want that water. You want to stay hydrated. You want to be ready for it. And I can't stress that enough right now, that this time of year, hydration is key to being able to be out there all day long. Excuse me. The field I play at has actually made it a requirement that everyone carries with them 3 to 4 liters of water for gameplay. Excuse me while I caffeinate. The other thing that comes in a lot of the crafting packs, and I'm not not sure if it comes in the summer pack. I don't own one. Considering getting one only because it comes with a lot of additional stuff that I use on a regular basis. As you can see, I have my VSR 10 in the background there, ghillied up and ready to go. I finally got it back together. Underneath it is my Stayer Scout, and I got a little CQB out of a mystery box that I've already posted a video on my YouTube, and honestly, I've been told it actually is a lot of fun to play with. So I lend that one out. I have another mystery box coming in this week, so expect another one of those mystery box opening videos from me. They're fun to do. Fun to see what you're getting, because it's always a surprise. You don't know what you're getting, and I go through Airsoft GI for those. Do pay for them. They are expensive. They're not cheap, but they're worth it. That specific package I got between optics, the Riff BBs that came with it. Now I don't use those BBs, but it came with BBs. Was worth more than what the box was, so it's definitely worth it. The other thing that, and again back to what I was talking about with these crafting packs, it also comes with these. Now these are actually inks that you can use to help dye your suit and make it, give you some more darker colors if you need them. Again, up here, summertime, don't really need it. I use the dark for the summer. I'm using the dark to kind of create those shadows, just like I would in the winter, because up here you're going to get a lot of these colors on the ground year round. It never goes away. It's just the nature of the beast up here in the northeast of America. Put those down. So let's really get into this now. I haven't opened this. I won't kept the pack completely as is. I have yet to open it. I haven't explored it yet. I wanted to wait to do this live with everyone, but I'm a little disappointed with that. I was hoping to go live. I thought it would be a lot of fun to do this live. So unfortunately, tech is what tech is, and I at least was always planning on doing a recording so I could better edit this and get it out there as an edited thing. I'm going to post a huge apology on my Instagram for everyone and on my YouTube. I'm really sorry about it, but let's delve into this. So, this adaptive ghillie mesh comes with this light green, and it looks like it's already cut in strips, which is what they were saying they would do. Yep, already in strips, so that will help a lot with the crafting. Now, crafting tools, you're going to want scissors. easy enough. You know, I like to use personally a good pair of cloth shears, which I'm not actually seeing close right now. Well, I'll get that in a second. Let's keep delving. So you get this light green and you get this dark green. Now the thing that I've noticed in Kicking Mustang, Ghillie, have been showing it that if you get these in shade, they're going to look one way, and when you get into light, they brighten up, and it's light adaptive, so it changes color based on if you're in shade or if you're in the light. So get this really nice green that I showed, and you have this darker green, and I'll hold them all up next to each other so you can see them. And again, an even darker green here. So if I actually take these and I put them together, you can start seeing the color variations. You can use them to create shading. There we go. Create shading with this. So I would put light with dark and work it around into my suit. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Obviously, I spend a lot of time watching the information that Ghillie and Kicking Mustang put out, so a lot of the way I actually craft my suit comes from the knowledge that they're already sharing. But, you know, we all have a different way of looking at things. So we all see colors differently. It doesn't matter how good you are. Color, creating shadows, breaking up form is really what you're trying to go for when you're doing this. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to go into what I do. Obviously, I like to craft on my mannequin here. It allows me to see it in 3 dimensions, so I can actually turn my mannequin to see how it's looking as I'm crafting it. Now, I know there's not much crafted up at the top here. I usually have my Ghillie hood back and kind of billowed out so it breaks up the shoulders and that head outline, which I think I talked about in my last one, because this is very easy to see in nature. Break that up, it makes it easier for you to hide, and that's the whole thing we're doing. We're going for stealth here. And lastly, in this pack, more of these. They give plenty of this, so I'm never going to run out of these. I use them on everything. I've used them on my riffs, I've used them on this, I use them on my Ghillie suit, I use them on my balaclava, I even use them to a point. Did I have my goggles? No, my goggles are fully shoe glued together, and I can get into that another time. I'm going to probably end up doing a second set of goggles because my site wants a specific standard to protect your eyes, which I'm grateful that they do that. Your eyes are important. You know, get 2 of them, you lose them, can't play this game anymore, and that would really not be fun. So for now, I'm just going to put these away. I don't need these. I already have one that I've opened. Let's go here. I need to find my shears, because a good set of shears, as I said, is well worth the price of admission for this. There we go. So, like I said, good set of sewing shears. And the only other thing that I use is this. It's a little crafting needle. I used it to actually poke holes in my webbing. Webbing was 20 bucks. Not exactly worried if I poke a hole in it. Now, obviously, you can get some of the more modern vests and plate carriers and all. Those run hundreds. You might not want to poke a hole in them, but for what I'm doing, for my style of play, I am going to poke holes. I'm going to basically turn this into a solid mesh. As you can see, if I can get it close enough, no, you can't really see it. I have ties on here. Everything has been poked in, so it's actually across. I use the strap connectors to, as you can see here, I've used these to actually create pockets to hold raffia and the leaves. Keep my camelback, as I said, right like this. I tied raffia and some of the leaves here. Of course, it also helps when you have the rest of the suit on. It kind of helps conceal this a little bit more. It blends into the suit nicely because I use a brown suit. And then I just have access to drink right there. So this would normally be sitting under my balaclava, which falls down. I can easily lift it up, get some water when I need it, especially when I'm in hide and I'm not going to be moving far. So let's get into this. Let's get into the crafting here. So I'm going to actually start in the front because it's actually a little easier to see. In here, it does need some work, always needs work. You're always adjusting, you're always fine-tuning, and it just takes a little bit of play. So I'm just gonna see here, what do we got? What's loose that I can easily get at, because this stuff is, there's a lot of it. Let's just do this, do this. There we go, there's one. Let's go here. We're going to go 2. There we go. And you can start to see how these colors are going to work together. And 3. So when you're crafting, one of the things you need to consider is the position you're going to be in. Personally, I stand, I lay, I'm prone, I'll sit. It depends on where I am and what is the best position for me to be in at any given point in time. Sometimes I have to stand. So that's why I've crafted this, so that I can actually stand up and still be hidden. But at the same time, I've actually been belly down, prone, which is why I crafted the back so that the raffia kind of stands up. Now I did that on purpose. I did that so that it would stand up from laying prone. It looks like grass. Yeah, it's a little dead grass now, but it still looks like grass. And dead or not, with it standing up, it conceals you pretty well. I actually, my last game out, I was told that I had another sniper that moved across, knew I was standing next to the tree, got into his position, and he could not see me. I was standing there, sight right on, looking at him, couldn't see me. So crafting is more than just overdoing it. You want to have gaps. You want to make it look natural, but you also want the colors to blend right. And we're gonna start. I just want to get one of these pieces out in full. I don't want to pull too hard on it. There we go. Get one of the lights. There's so much of this stuff, so it's going to be a lot of cutting, placing, getting the right placement on this. And also remember, having a little bit of green in the winter is not sometimes a bad thing. It depends on where you are. But right now where I am, it's summertime. We're at a point now where you want to have greens in your suit. I don't feel the need to buy like a KMCS green suit. It's a great looking suit. It probably does work well in a lot of areas. My area, I don't think it's as necessary. I think if I just add enough greens on this, and I have not found the need to add natural vegetation, but there are places that you go just add some natural veg. That'll give you greens, especially in the summer. Just a couple of branches, some long grass, stick it into your ghillie. There you go. All right, so now that I have a few a couple of strands of this. As you can see, we're just gonna play with this a little bit. I'm gonna cut some of it down. I'm gonna cut this down a bit so that I make use the best I can. But I'm just going to kind of put it together and measure it off, and I'm actually going to use all 3 shades on this because I'm obviously going to trim this a bit more so that it's not linear insofar as these natural lines, unnatural straight lines are not what you're looking for. You want to try to make it as organic as possible. So we're just going to, I think that's a reasonable amount. I'm gonna do that. Just gonna lay this back down here, and I'm gonna start working on this now. So what I've done, I'm just kind of mixing them up a little bit right now so that they're kind of overlapping themselves, so you can see that. And I'm going to actually try a technique that Kicking Mustang was actually talking about recently. Let me see, where's that bag? Now I don't use, so this is called, he calls it the BB method, which I think is a great idea. I'm just going to take a zip tie, cable tie, whatever you want to call it, and we're just going to, I'm just going to go up here, I think today. I'm going to go just like so, making sure I'm not blocking the other camera. So you can see, I'm just gonna lightly pull it so it's in place. Now, because this is my my Camelback, I'm not punching holes in this. I want to be very careful because this tubing is gonna save me a lot of issues. Now, for the BB method, you take a BB, put it in the middle, ball it up, and then you put it into the cable tie. That's a great thing. Now, BBs, especially for us snipers, they're expensive. You're looking for 0.4s and above for a lot of us. I use 0.46s. I know Mustang uses 0.48s. Haven't been able to find 0.48s. I'd love to try 0.48s in the setups I have, but work with what you got. 0.46, 0.48, you're talking 0.2 difference in grams. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that too much. But I have a bunch of BBs like this, that's 0.2s. I don't use 0.2s. My handguns, or my pistols, let's put it that way, depends on the pistol that I'm using, but in general they're using 0.3s or above. My MK23, I use 0.46s. So I really don't want to use my 0.46s because what I'm spending for 555 of those compared to I can get thousands of these for 10 bucks. You do the math. What would you rather use? I'll spend the couple of bucks and get these. Now this is what came with the little CQB that I got. I don't use it, and again, once I get the hop set on it, I'll probably be able to shoot 3.0s without an issue. I'm not gonna use these 2.0s, so we're just gonna use these to see how this works. Alright, so I'm going to take a BB, get nice and close, going to get my cloth. I'm just going to stick, I'm out of frame here. I'm going to stick the BB into the cloth, trying to get it so that it kind of lands in my in a little gap in my fingers, and then just going to bring it up, fold it up like so, so that it looks like this. Now this, I'm just going to slide in. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a tug. I'm just going to open this up a little bit, and I'm going to actually let that be because that's not too bad. I just want to cut up some of the edges on this just a little bit, just so that it's not so straight. And as best as I can. Obviously it's a little tough working like this, but yeah, just a little trim here, a little trim there, just trying to make this. And there you have it. Nice and simple. A little bit of green, and now you got that to go with the underbrush, the darker, lighter, faded leaves, and then my raffia sticking out, and there you have it. Nice and simple. I'll do a few more, I think. Again, what you're trying to do, as I said, you don't want to overdo it, you don't want to underdo it, but I take the approach less is more. Trying to minimize what's here, but at the same time giving it just enough to help break up shapes and color and add additional colors to it, so that in the end, once it's done, everything is nice and set. So let's do a couple more like this. Again, I'm going to, same thing, cut this down a little bit. There's my BB. It's going to be a pain for me, of course. It doesn't want to work nice and easy. And again, if you can't see what I'm doing with my hands, I do have another camera. I will be cutting and juxtaposing this as we go. So I'm trying to remember to keep it up so you can actually see me with the webcam. Just gonna do just like so. And I want this in there. And pull it, and we're just going to kind of butterfly it out a little bit, just like this. And one more. Now, of course, I'm going to go back and I'm going to cut all these extra ends off. That's part of the cleanup on it. It's really a simple process. Alright, just again, we're just going to do this. Maybe I'll cut this a little bit more like so this time. Give it a little bit more of a jagged edge to it. And I'm just going to, again, just going to arrange this a little bit so that the jagged edges are not overlapping and they're more trying to make it look more like natural vegetation, so that nothing is completely straight and symmetrical, because you shouldn't be seeing that with this. And we're just going to same thing. And I'm going to go up here, slide it through so that the BB is on one side, the ends are on another. I'm just going to gently pull it, and there you have it. There you go. You can see how much that's already changed the shape of this. It's broken up the shape. It's created a 3D shape. It's also added color to it to help bring out, well, break up the brown. So I got lucky. I got a brown color with it, and I personally think the brown base is the best. But again, my area. You could be in a greener area. Green base would be better. Base it on where you are. Base it on the places that you play. Most of my play is Northeast America. Yes, it's green now. It's greener now, but as I said, you're gonna have these brown leaves all over the place. No, you fell. Don't you dare. I'll have BBs everywhere. Trying to stay neat. This is my it's my office. It's where I actually work most days, so I want to keep it somewhat neat so that I can actually perform my job. Now, I have these basically set. So this is an old Alice rig, so it's not going to be the same as something newer. At some point I'm just going to tape over these so they don't undo, because I actually have it set for me and where I want it for my body. But since right now that's not going to happen just yet today, we're going to actually add some more to this. Yes, it's the old woodland camo works well, but I want to add some 3D to these straps. So we're just going to take my little tool here, my crafting tool, and I'm just going to try and puncture a hole through. So as you can see, I'm now creating a space where I can add cable tie. Puncture it, pull it out. Now, this is more of a webbing than a tight webbing than an actual piece of cloth. So what I'm trying to do is work my cable tie in and through, and it's proving to be a bit more difficult than I was expecting, but that is not an issue. If I need to, I'll just puncture it again, which is what it looks like I need to do. I need to punch another hole through. So I'm just going to go ahead, punch another hole, And there we go. Now it's through. Now another question that you could ask is this larger section of the cable tie. I have two methods for dealing with that. One is it's on the top and I'm just folding the cloth over it. You won't see it. Another method I use is I will actually put the cable tie in so that that's actually on the inside and underneath, and it'll hold that way. Now what I'm going to also do is eventually when I tape this up, I'm going to fold this up so that it's hanging there. And we're just going to, again, take some more of the mesh. Again, and now let's also take this into consideration. I may be overdoing it with the colors in terms of you don't need to do all three shades in one go, but I like to create the shadows using these colors. So just try to show you how I'm cutting this here. So I'm just trying to make it so that it's not a straight line. Pull that off. I'm not taking the scissor out. So really what I'm trying to do is really make it more rough, more like you would see it in nature. Now with this, what I'm going to do is a similar trick to what I do with the cottons. Just going to kind of line these up, put my finger inside, and I'm just going to twist, just like so. Now because I'm using three different colors, normally I try to get it so that you have a dark on one side and a light on the other, so that dark's on top, light's on top, dark's on bottom, light's on bottom. So when you pull it out, it looks like they're kind of intertwining and meshing. I'm not doing that as much because I'm using three different color shades here. And all you're going to do, slide it through the tie, tighten it down a little bit. Now comes the fun. What we're going to do is I'm just going to, it's a little bit more, I'm just going to spread it as Kicking Mustang will call it. This is the butterfly method. So I'm just kind of spreading it, turning it around on itself, and gonna pull it nice and tight. There you have it. Nice and simple. Now, do I have another scissor up here? Yes, I do. Perfect. I don't use my nice cloth scissors on things that are not cloth. I've yelled at my father for doing that. He's been up here helping me get my place in order. I've just bought this place a couple months ago, so I'm still doing a lot of work. And every now and then he takes my cloth scissors and cuts something with it, and I yell at him. Don't want him doing that. They're not cheap scissors. So I'm just going to take my scissor, and we're just going to snip. Clean it up, so to speak, so that there's not this piece that's hanging out. Now when you are snipping, be careful. You don't worry about over snipping. You can cut it right up next to the locking end of the cable tie. What I mean by be careful is you don't want to cut things like your hose for your Camelback. You don't want to cut the cloth there that you just spent a couple minutes arranging and getting it just the way you want it to look. So just be a little careful. Now I do have hidden here this brown cloth tape, which I'm actually going to use right now. We're just going to take a little bit. I'm going to go underneath. Really what I'm trying to do here is I just want to wrap this so that, oh, I don't want it on my mannequin. That was not what I was going for. So really what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to wrap this so that it's not going anywhere. I should have done this before I put the mesh on, but whatever. Challenge, fun. Now if you notice, I wasn't being too neat with it. I don't care, the texture's nice. This tape's gonna get dirty, it's gonna darken, and there you have it. That's that. So now what I usually do is I like to take my time when I do these because I want them to kind of look a certain way. I like to do it a little bit at a time. So I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to look at this, I'm going to figure out, oh, that's cute, lost cotton, to be replaced later. I'm going to see where I think I can add more of this. I'm going to use the lights that I have in my room. I'll use natural light. I'll open up the windows so that I can get natural light in here. I don't do these things in a fast manner. I take my time. I make sure to add a little bit, get out, play, see how it works. Add a little bit more. Obviously, I did a lot of work on these already before I went out because it needed a lot more work to begin with. Now that I'm just adding a little bit at a time, it's going to be a little bit and do a little bit now, do a little bit more maybe in a day or so after I have a chance to take my eyes off of it, come back, see what it looks like, add some more. I'm going to do some more today because I don't want to just put a couple of pieces on and call that a day. I wanted to do actually a good craft and also give you a chance to see some, you know, some of the other ways that I can connect this. So let's start over here. Let me see if I can turn this to you. So as you can see, there's actually a mesh here. Perfect. I don't need to add a hole. It's just going to slide right through the mesh. I'm going to add some green. So I'm just going to go through the mesh, bring it back out, do a couple of these just so that it's ready and I can add it on. And I am going to do a little bit on the back too, so you can see how it works with the KMCS mesh. Now that mesh, it's a tighter weave mesh than this. These fit through beautifully. So I'm going to do one there, and I'm going to do, I think another one, we're going to go right in here. Hard to see there. So I'm looking right in here, go in between the browns. Basically what I want to do is I'm trying to make it look like almost new growth coming in. the other thing to consider when you do this, depending on how you put your cable tie in, if you put your cable tie in so that it's horizontal, expect everything to be in a vertical manner. If you put it cable tie in vertical, it's going to be a vertical. You can go diagonals. You just have to play with it, make it work for you. And we're going to go back, cut some more off, and add it in. Again, I always, what I'm trying to do is line these up so that my lengths are roughly similar. You don't have to do it that way. I'm just doing it that way because it just, for me, it makes it a little bit easier to determine how much I need to put on. And again, we're just gonna cut this so that it creates a non-uniform line. I'm going to do the same technique I did over here. We're just going to take it, twist, bring it through, pull it tight, and I'm just going to spread it. Trying to get the colors so that they do what I want them to do. Just going to spread it out nice and neat. So making sure that I'm not, and I'm just going to give it one final tug, make sure it's good and tight. And we're going to go do it one more time. Now, because I couldn't go live with this like I wanted to, please, 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 please comment, because I can answer your questions. I do check my comments regularly. I do respond to everyone that comments. Yes, I do work a job that's not this, and sometimes it might take me an hour or two to respond because of my actual work. I have to support myself in some way. I have to eat. I have to pay my rent, my mortgage, not my rent. All my bills, they all have to be paid, and right now I have a job that does that. So I'm not leaving my job, but I will always respond. So please leave a message, like and subscribe. You know, all of that helps. I do have another gameplay I'm planning on editing. I haven't started it yet. I have a nice queue of videos actually that I plan on doing. And I'm going to talk about that now while I'm doing this, because it's all rinse, repeat. Rinse it and repeat it. Keep going. So as far as my plans for videos, so of course I have that next gameplay coming up. Gameplay was done in May, and you can see a difference in my gameplays because I'm actually starting to feel better. So the surgery is, I'm healing well from it. It's just a matter now of getting my stamina back and getting everything else back to where it was before the surgery. So there's that gameplay that I plan on showing, and I might actually, there's the field I play at, Zulu 24, they do more than just one gameplay a day. They'll open up with the CQB in the morning, and they'll end with the CQB at night. And then they run different scenario type games, which are, the CQBs are harder for me because I'm running a sniper. I'm not really good at doing that stuff. So for me to play in those games, I basically find a hide that's looking down one of the main alleys that the people run, sit there, and I'm basically sitting at spawn shooting at them with the BB guns, shooting from spawn, because that's the range. But with the longer games where they're using the whole field, and it's a large field, it's a 62-acre field. There's a lot of different zones that they have. I've been in games where they've done dominate, capture. So those tend to be more to my style of play. Can I do seakeeping? I will, and I do, because it's fun. It allows everyone to have some fun. Much as that's not as fun for me, I will go and do it because while I'm competitive, my whole thought is make sure that everybody is having a good time. I want to make sure that new players that are coming out that might be renting, maybe they don't have enough money to get the gun package. Well, borrow the one that I brought. That's fine. I'm okay with it. Just return it at the end of the day. And that's how I am. I'd rather get more people involved instead of keep to myself and not really help you, because that's my big thing. And as you can see, One Shot Airsoft, I've mentioned them a number of times in my videos. He's a Canadian-run company, and great guy, supports the sniper community, carries a lot of the stuff that I run with. He's not had the luck with getting a lot of the KMCS stuff. He's trying. I usually go through a shipment from England, which is not cheap for here in America, but I justify it as the person that I'm getting it from, the shop that I get it from, is a good guy, good friend of James, or should I say Kicking Mustang, and his shop has only been open for a year, and they're expanding to include more stuff. So if you are in Europe or the UK, give Empire Airsoft a call. Chances are they have something, and they can either get it for you easy if you're over there, or find a way to make it work to help you. In terms of over here in America, I use a number of shops. As I said, Airsoft GI, I do get my mystery boxes from. I use Airsoft Atlanta. And it also depends on how fast I need stuff. But when it comes to really specific stuff, for my snipers or my MK23, which you're not going to find parts in America for it. I don't know why. I don't understand why. But I'll go through him because he can get that stuff. So actually, one of the major parts that I put into my JG, the one on top over there, it was a Sniper Mechanics weight adjustable silent piston, or as we call it, a WASP. He was able to get them in instead of spending $50 to $60 for well, it's more than that, but 50 to 60 pounds to get it shipped from Empire, on top of how much the WASP costs. I went through One Shot and was able to get it for a decent price at a decent shipping. So now I'm not saying that the price is cheaper or not. I'm just saying that I was able to get it for I was able to see the cost as it would be in America and get the shipping greatly reduced. So instead of paying maybe $70, $80 in shipping, I pay $20 or less. So if you can use him and you're in America, give him a call. He will try to get stuff in for you if he doesn't have it. Just keep that in mind. Now I'm just going to turn this around and we're going to look at the back for a bit because I want to go over what I actually did a little bit on the back, because the back was a little more of a process than the front. The front was poke a hole, put a cable tie in, put the cottons on, basically what I showed you. With the back, now obviously you have the webbing, and I've attached the camelback to the webbing. What I did after that is I actually took the KMCS mesh that came in the Wintercraft pack and I overlaid it. Now it's overlaid using cable ties, and it's loose enough that if I put fluid in here, it'll expand with it, so it's not going to be an issue. When you are doing that, you have the option of doing what I did or just poke holes in it. It's my camelback. I'm not averse to poking holes in my gear and my equipment, obviously, but you have to be exceptionally careful with it because you don't need to puncture the bladder that's in it. Bladders are expensive. You're better off putting the mesh over it to create a nice base to craft onto, as opposed to let's punch a hole here, let's punch a hole there, and oh no, I just and without realizing it, you punctured your camelback and you go to fill it and it starts leaking while you're at the field. What good is that if you are in a hot day and trying to play and you go to hydrate yourself and you find that you have no water? That's not going to help you. So now that I've said that, let's also look at how I applied some of this stuff so you can actually see it. Now obviously I'm just using cable ties. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not doing anything different, but you can see how I've added the coconut rope in here and how it's we're just kind of creating a 3D effect on a 2D object. Again, using different color cottons to create shadows, using similar color cottons to create patches of bright or dark. All of the raffia that I put on here, it's all cable tied, and then basically what I'm doing to tie it on, I'll use the coconut rope to demonstrate. I'm creating a loop, coming around like so, and if I can get enough of this to just kind of show, so a little bit of loop, gonna go around and pull it through just like so, and that's how it's all done. If I can lift this up, you can see it right here, so you can see loop pulled through, all on a cable tie, and the cable tie is tightened down nice and hard, nice and tight, so it doesn't break out or it doesn't fall out. But now, because you've also knotted it to the cable tie, you've now made it very secure. I don't think I need any more of the coconut rope. Don't think. Might add some more. We'll see how I feel after I've added this. So I'm looking right in here. So you got this little bare patch on this right in here, which is not covered by my hood. Now, in the winter, fine, good enough. But with the summer, I'm going to add some greens. I'm going to add something to make it look like there's some new sprouting foliage in here. So we're going to, I'm actually going to get my hand through this so that I can actually use it, and I'm just going to through a hole in the mesh, through another hole in the mesh. Like I said, this mesh is sized almost perfectly so that it fits. Let's see if I can get a good shot for you to see. pull it through. And I'm just going to start a closure on it. And I think I'm going to use the BB method for this. I want to make it look more like a plant blooming out as opposed to a green leaf on the floor. It's too early for green leaves, so I'm trying to create more of a plant look. So I'm just going to do a couple of these now, just to get it started so that it goes a little bit quicker. Also, when you're using the cable ties, make sure you put them in the right way. I do it all the time. I may make a little bit of mistake when I put them on, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at it and I have to flip it, which is not a huge issue, but save yourself the headache. Do one more here. There we go. Now I have, as you can see, I have 3 loops ready for crafting. And I'm just going to pull this out quick and bring my GoPro close so I can get a good close-up of this. Hopefully. There we go. So I want to get a nice close-up. So yes, I am using with my GoPro, doing this with my GoPro. So I want you to see nice and close what I've done here. So as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3 ready for crafting. Just put you back. Good enough, it'll hold. All right, so I'm going to actually use the BB method again to create more buds, make it look more like flowers coming up out of the ground as opposed to leaves on the ground. So again, we're still too early for that, and with the front, I tend to think of it in terms of, if you're seeing the front of me, I'm either sitting or I'm standing, and you're going to have leaves on a tree. On my back, chances are I'm either going to have it hidden because of where I am sitting, or I'm laying prone. In which case, I want it to look something more like coming out of the ground, and less like something that and I'm just going to do that. Give this another quick tug, and there we go. A little bit of green. It's going to start to pop out of this. Where are my strips here? I have so much here, it's hard for me to see where my strips are. There we go, found them. Okay, so there's my strips. Again, I'm going to use my more non-linear sides here. Just kind of line them up, and we're gonna do again. We're gonna cut out the next piece. Now I'm using this method with a lot of smaller cuts on this because it's meant to be. It's a way to use this where if you don't have enough fabric or the mesh to, let's put that all there because I'm going to get to it again. If you don't have enough mesh to do it in the other way I showed you, so where I'm spinning it around and kind of butterflying it out, the BB is actually causing it to look something like this. And basically you're using that little bit there to hold it in place. Oh no, I missed. Okay, I'm gonna have to do that differently. I missed. Now I can always cut it off and do another one, which I might end up doing. It doesn't help that I'm right-handed and I do a lot of it, right-handed as opposed to trying to do things with my left hand. Okay, there we go. Get it nice and tight. I'm just gonna bulb it out a little bit, and I'm just gonna cut that off. And where did I put that scissor? I'm just gonna cut that off and put a new tie-in, because even trying to thread the scissor through there is not working. So I'll just scrap a cable tie and we'll do it again. Now we can already hear the question, how do I attach the coconut rope? And I'll show you. I think I can put a piece of coconut rope on here and make it look more alive. Yeah, so I'll show you how I would do that. First, let me finish this one piece of green. Again, I want another BB. This time we're not going to miss. And I'm just going to butt it out like so, and we're just going to clip this down. Give it one more good pull. Just clip these off. Now, the coconut rope. How do I make this work? So what I'm actually going to do, I am going going to fill it in. There's a spot here that I can fill this in right there. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to put one of my ties in place. Now I'm going to take my coconut rope and I'm going to feed it through the tie. Idea here is that I'm getting a solid point of contact to begin with. And maybe this fell in a recent storm, so it's actually going to go over some of these leaves. So we're just going to kind of adjust it so it's kind of laying on top, as you can see. And I think I'm going to tie it in right here. So I'm going to place my tie. Like so. Going to bring the coconut rope across. And I'm going to secure it in place. Now obviously there's more coconut rope than I need on this. You're not going to have it hanging. Trusty scissor. Snip. And now you have the new piece of coconut rope in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take some greens. I'm going to secure some greens onto it. Basically what I'm trying to do is create the illusion of something green. So now obviously I've hit the end of one of my strips, not an issue. I'm just gonna cut the other two. To roughly the same length. Going to take a tie. We're going to bring the tie so that it is secured to my coconut rope. Take the new adapted mesh. I'm just going to give it a twist. Get it in place, secure it down, and again, just going to open it up so that it's kind of sitting there. That's it. Now we're just going to do another piece over here. And keep in mind when you're doing this that you have to treat it like nature. You're not going to have a leaf at every intersection of this. So I think I'm just going to use the two of these as they are, make it nice and long this time around. I'm going to feed it through. Lock it into place, and I'm just going to kind of let it open itself up. Kind of like that. Now I'm just going to trim these quick. Two. And I'm going to trim these back a little because they're a little bit too much, but do that. Just going to kind of do this. Now I'm kind of just bunching it and cutting it so that it's on an angle, just so it's not on different angles, so that it's not overly bad. And there you go, done. That's basically all I'm gonna do. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I am, again, very, very sorry that this did not go live. I was, again, extremely upset to find that I could not go live yet. That I needed to actually have started this a day or two ago, this process a day or two ago. So any of you in the future, and this is going to lead into some of the additional content I'm going to put out. Anybody in the future that's just starting to get into this, once you meet the requirements that YouTube has for you to be able to do live streams, which I did meet that, you have to put in a request. Once you put that request in, it takes 24 hours for it to go through. Unfortunately, I didn't find that out until today. Now, why did I say that this is coinciding with some of the content I'm going to be putting out? Well, my plan is, as I'm a new YouTuber and I'm new to Airsoft, I'm still learning a lot as I go. I want to actually do tutorials. I want to show people the problems that I run into while I'm learning how to do this. Basically, I want to give you a behind the scenes look. I want you to see what I'm doing. I want you to be able to learn from it, so that hopefully anybody else that's trying to content create out there can learn how to do it and eventually get to a point where you don't need the help that I'm trying to not find, but you don't need to go through as much as I'm going through. Then it makes it easier for you in the future. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, if you want to see more of that content, I will do definitely, once I'm able to, I will definitely do some live streams. I'm going to do some more crafting. Maybe I'll do a full video, a full stream showing how I craft my goggles, because I'm going to buy a second pair so I can put a second pair of goggles together. Things like that. Please like, subscribe, hit that little bell so that you can be notified when I'm going live, or I put up a new video. And by all means, comment. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you like what I'm doing. Tell me what you don't like that I'm doing. I love feedback. Feedback is great. Feedback helps me get better. Just like I will give feedback to anyone else that's looking for it. Please feel free, leave feedback. Tell me what you think I'm doing wrong. it was feedback that got me to buy the new webcam I got, that um, made me decide that I'm going to try to run 2 cameras for this, so that I have 2 vantage points. So one is obviously from the side and it's harder to see, but I also had the one over my shoulder looking at what I'm doing. So I'm hoping that that caught enough of what I did to actually give you some more insight as to how I'm doing this. So it's insight like that that will help me progress, will help others to progress. And please keep it civil. It's gonna happen. I expect it. I expect there to be a hater. I expect that. Whatever. It's gonna happen, whether I like it or not. As such, take it with a grain. I'll take it with a grain of salt. But again, keep it civil. If it's not, I am going to delete the message. But anyway, enjoy your Sunday. And again, I'm sorry. I wanted to go live and it didn't happen. But we will fix that and make it work the next time. All right, everyone. Have a good one.